The room felt emptier without the other voices in it. Cove expelled a sigh that crashed through the newly fallen silence. He dropped his arms to his sides, letting his head hang down like a puppet at rest. Oh, God! There we go. Oh, thank God. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go for that choice. I am relieved. I probably would say that out loud because Cove is there. Um, but yes, I am relieved it's okay. I am simply happy they have made things up. And it is draining. And I'm finally happy that he's at ease again. Like, all of this is yes. The only thing that I didn't like is this first one. All of this is yes. I wish that they didn't have the dialogue like these choices here. I wouldn't say silent because he's there. I wish that it's just only these two and then this will come up later. But that's just me. I'm so relieved it's okay. Cove scratched at his face, his expression cloudy. I think I need to find better ways for dealing with conflict because that was awful. We could all probably do better at that. I agree. Cove meekly smiled as he rubbed at his eyes, weariness creeping over him, and mumbled his next words. We could talk about it another day. Conflict resolution methods? Oh no, forget about it. He came up to my room because he wanted to talk to me about something. And then this happened. Oh. Maybe he was wanting to have a more secure relationship? Maybe? Maybe we want to go beyond best friends? Maybe? Your eyebrows rose and then a light bulb went off on your head. Before Miranda called, did you say there was something you wanted to say? Cove's original visit had been thrown so off kilter that it was a struggle to wind your memory back to when he first turned up. Now you did, though. You remember that he had been perky when he arrived this afternoon. Was it good news? Cove brushed his hands against his new folded arms shyly. Well, yeah, maybe. I'm not exactly sure it counts as news or even good. Is what it is. I'm happy about it, though. You were curious, but you didn't want to push Cove if he didn't want to speak about it. You know, you don't have to say anything, but if it makes you feel good, I think it's good. Cove chuckled awkwardly, a hand creeping up to ruffle the hair on the back of his head. It's fine. If you want to hear, I can tell you. Yes, tell me. Tell me about it. Tell me everything. He shifted on his feet, as if a different posture might give him the support he needed for the conversation. I don't want to make it a big deal, but I just know what my sexuality is now. Oh. Oh. That's cool. What is it? Is he bisexual? Pansexual? Maybe he's just asexual. Well, okay, we're just gonna have to let him tell us. A real subject change, huh? He chuckled. True, it was unexpected, but you were excited that Cove had come to understand himself more and glad he wanted to share that with you. That's great. Tell me more. Cove drew a breath, straightening up. Oh. Oh. He's like me. Wow. I am Cove. Okay. Wow. I it's so rare to see demisexuals at all in anything at all. And I whenever I go to a story, read a story, I never expect to see myself in it. Wow. Wow. I am Co. um wow. Let's say they actually did describe it well. I'm demisexual, so most of the time I really don't have those kind of feelings, physical wants and stuff. It's only in some situations when I'm already really emotionally, romantically connected with someone. Yep. That I start to ever think about anything sexual. It's only with them. And it's rare. Um, I feel the same way, and it's only with very, very few people. There's like a couple of people I had emotionally wanted to engage in a sexual manner like that. It the way I would usually say it's that you have to be this emotionally tall to date with me or something like that. I had to have a really strong emotional or romantic connection with someone to even date them. Not just sex, just dating. That's just me. I haven't heard the term until pretty recently and just made a lot of sense. Once I knew what it meant, I had a word that fit how I felt. Same. I didn't know about my orientation until 2016, 2015. I always been that way. I just never knew how different I was. And well, I knew I was different. I just thought, oh, I was raised, Catholic, and I'm just a good person, and I just don't do those things. And when I went into college, especially Moorhead, I realized, no, I'm not as um, interested as other people would be, and I just don't play it as loosely as some people would. And then I begin to understand that no, that's just a normal human response. People who adults are going to be more sexually active, and the fact that I'm just not into it, except for a few people, probably a couple of people, just made me realize I'm sort of closer to that type of asexual spectrum. I don't consider myself ace. I only see myself as a demisexual, and that's it. But it really made sense when I start hearing about that term and start seeing the definition of the term from other friends on social media. And the more I learned about it, I realized I fit in this description. This is really saying who I am. And when I came out, everyone's like, okay, you're just still you. So I think the reason why they reacted the way they did is because I had it much later in my life. I'm in my mid 30s. When I came out as a demi, I was just turning 30. And to this very day, I still, not interested in a lot of people. I mean, I don't mind playing games that have romantic interests. I don't mind playing romantic games. I don't mind getting married in games, whoever it is, whatever it is, etc. That doesn't bother me. It's the real life, interacting with other people, dealing with real life relationships and all that. And even when I approach in dating, I still care more about their personality and um, how we click, personality wise or relationship wise, than in any sort of sexual way. I'm not there for like one night stands. I don't even want a one night stand. I don't even want, sex. I just want to know the person. So, um, just saying that there, that's just cool. I know it's a little bit not really superficial. It's really hard to see it because you are you are kind of geared towards having a romantic relationship with Cove, so you don't really see the difference. Um, but I'm sure that if you're just friends only, you probably could see that he's only interested in like one or two people or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, panoramic. Okay. He's pan romantic because he never had a preference for a specific gender or anything. So, yeah. Okay. When I date people, I do tend to lean towards men. Um, when I was growing up, I was crushing on gals, but over time, I just only focused on dating men. But only those who really had a strong emotional connection with me. I mean, I had crushes in the past, but that doesn't mean anything. When you're growing up and becoming an adult, you're starting to realize when you go out there in the world how much you don't want to date that person or date anyone, you know. And you could admire, a beautiful person from afar, and you still don't want to deal with them. Okay, that makes sense. Cove looked down at the floor, being so open and direct about a matter that personal, which you were sure he spent a long time trying to figure out, seemed to be kind of weird for him. No, I think that um, he's starting to realize, oh, hey, I'm this. He's finally starting hearing those terms. Now he's finally out of high school. And what's happening now is that our younger generation is learning about these terms in high school and are coming out in high school. And there's a big, huge boom in that, which is also a good and bad thing. Good because we're finally having this education and people are having this confidence to come out and do it. It's negative because high school is so, oh my god, there's a lot of pressures coming at you in all angles. That's very suffocating. From social life, from domestic life, from public life. It's all coming at you in all angles, and then you put coming out on top of it. Um, you will have this overreaction, and sometimes it's really hard to cope. So, kudos to everyone doing that and putting up with all the negativity that comes with it. Kudos to you. And I hope that everything comes better and brighter and now that you embrace your own inner truth and try to be the sparkle in someone else's life. So, Cove looked down at the floor, being so open and direct about a matter that personal, which he's sure he spent a long time trying to figure out, seemed so kind of weird for him. Despite that, there was a small, proud smile on his face. When he looked up again, his gaze was steadfast. All this talk of co-sexuality made you reflect about your own. You had physical attraction in a general way? No. They don't list it. You only seem to feel physical attraction in specific cases and situations. This sounds like this is what a demisexual is here. It's not just specific cases and situations, it's specific people. It's a type of person that brings it out in me. An emotional interaction. Um, this is more of a asexual thing. That's more straightforward. You didn't think you could tell if you had an interest in people physically. Yeah, you don't know. You're still questioning, but you know that you're definitely queer, so that's okay. There's only one person you ever had those kinds of feelings for. That does happen. That can happen. And I heard it happen. I'll just go here because that's more in line with what I am now. Back then, I was just clueless because we didn't have the terms that we have, or at least the education that we have currently. Oh, I guess it's making me choose? Hold on. You only seem to feel physical attraction in specific cases and situations. And then it does this. What's up with that? But specifically when it came to how you feel towards men. You weren't. Okay, let's go ahead and voice it out just so I could process this. You find them attractive, you thought you'd be happy with a guy someday. You find them attractive, but you haven't thought about being with a guy. You weren't physically interested, but you'd be happy to have a romantic relationship with a guy. You weren't interested in guys, but there are special exceptions. I'm kind of in this route. There's certain types of men that I find, oh, you look great or you look good, but it's rare. Very, very, very rare. And it's nothing to do with body types, it's just that I'm a demisexual. And I'm sort of going meta here and trying to figure out how I could tell this game I'm this. And I'm just overthinking about it. You find them attractive, but you haven't thought about being with a guy? No, I thought about it. So I think I do this. Right? How I felt towards women. I do find them attractive, but I don't date them. It's just... Yeah, there we go. And how you felt towards envies. Or are those people who are in between or none of the above? No, they're non-binaries. Oh my gosh, I'm out of the loop. Ugh. I would not know. I would not know because I haven't been in that situation yet. See, I would not rule out anyone who's non-binary because I haven't had enough meetings with non-binary people to gauge how I am attractive to them or not. And I'm guess it's going to be the same way with all the other genders. It really depends on the emotional attraction. Like I said, I lately in my life had only been dating men and not so much in women. Not even. Um, so I don't know. I'll say this. Oh God, don't hate me. Please don't hate me. The thing is that I don't, where I live, even though we live in what's called the urban triangle in my state, there's just not enough exposure of those who are non-binary, and usually people don't want to stay in this state for really good reasons. I kind of have no choice but to stay here. Now I would not mind. It's one of these two. Because I'm gonna go with this. I would do this part simply because I came out much later in my life. I could share it with him now since we're talking about it. Sure, let's come out a little earlier. Since we're talking about this, I could tell you about me. Yeah, I could definitely listen. I'd like to know if you want me to. You articulated to Cove how you experienced attraction and romance. Cove let a beat lapse in case you had more to say. You didn't, so he tilted his head like with a likewise bent smile.
I get it.
I don't know if it makes sense to say something like, that is cool, but I really think that's great for you. He smiled, knowing he was doing his best to be encouraging. Thanks for understanding. So they don't really tell you. They don't use labels. Which, I get it. If you never had considered it before, and you're always having questioning, and this game is like an introduction to being LGBTQ, that's okay. I don't mind that, but I'm also kind of worried whether this game is going to do it kind of align how I think. That was really confusing. I felt like it could have been a little bit better in cleaning it up, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm just a little bit more straightforward than other people are. I don't know. I think it did a pretty good job, but I felt like the choices are a little bit more confusing. And it doesn't tell you what you are at the end. So you're still kind of like, is this right? Is this wrong? I don't know. I mean, having Cove saying, yeah, that's cool, and having his acceptance, that is nice. But the game doesn't tell you. So, which, it also begs to the idea that should the game tell you what you are based on those comments, based on the selections that you made. And that is quite a quandary. I think it's cool that you're seeing this in this game, that it is very open and very accepting, and I like that Cove is, a demi like me, and he is pan romantic, and I like that they had that available for you to choose. I don't know how to fix the choices that it was laid out For me, it felt a little bit confusing, especially that second set, but I already chose, twice. I'm only interested in people in select situations. I didn't like that. That was a really confusing part. And it made me second guess everything that came along with it. Um, but it was a good attempt. I never seen that in any games. So if there's a way to clean it up, like let me go back. Maybe I could try to help a little bit. Hey, can we go back? There we go.
I get it.
There should be a set where you separate attraction, like physical attraction, with romantic attraction or romantic interest for all three categories. And just to put it out there, there's also those who are intersex. And it's not just men, women, and non binaries, there's also intersex people. Um, some of them identify themselves as all the above. Some of them identify as a woman or a man, even though they have parts that are borrowed from one or the other. I think that it would be cool to include intersex people. Um, since we're all talking about gender here. And I also think this should never be a question about whether you're attracted to a transgender person or not. Whoever they are at the very end of the day, at the end of their transition, um, they are that person. If they transition to a man, they are a man. If they became a woman, they are a woman. Um, it should be that way. There should be no questions about that. Or if they are non-binary, they are non-binary. Um, so I'm glad that part of me is like, yes, I'm not seeing transgender here because when they are done in their transition, they are what they are. There shouldn't be no question. But I also wondered, are we leaving them out in this scenario? You know, how we could include that, in this conversation. If we are going to bring out attraction between men and women, non-binaries, intersex people, etc. So, I don't know. I think maybe the people who are transgender should put their opinions in to let everyone else know if this is okay or not. I feel like they're being left out here because I'm assuming that, they fit in this new category now that they finally come into. Um, but I guess, but I also don't want them excluded or I just don't want them excluded. Same thing with intersex. There's no intersex mentionings at all in all of this. There are not as much discussed as demisexuals are. I mean, we are just now hearing about demisexualities in these past few years. I think it's time for intersex people to be heard. So anyway, I think the best way to go. Final thoughts. In all gender categories, I think you should have. I have physical attraction to XYZ. And it should be one of those multi-choice questions, most multi-choice answers for that question. Like I have a physical attraction to blank, and I have a romantic attraction to blank, and and if you had selected no attraction at all at those two columns, you could say, however, there are a rare exceptions, or it's better off this way, or something at the end, or something like that. So that way you can include everyone in that category. I think men, women, um, non-binaries, intersex, or when you put men, you put also trans men, slash trans men, and put them in the same category, just to show that they're included. Maybe. I mean, this is a wonderful attempt, but it's messy. It's really messy. And we need to separate attraction and romantic, like physical attraction, from romantic attraction, because I didn't see it very clearly. And that was not cool. So that's my take. I think that's probably the best way to go about it. If that's not fixed for this game, I understand. It's just taking it to the future for the rest of the other games. I think that would be cool. Again, this is awesome. It's very accepting. And I also keep remembering back to when it was the last summer segment where we're looking at ourselves and we're deciding whether to accept our gender, even though we are assigned with this gender physically. I didn't say it back then, but I'll say it now. We should also include intersex people in that conversation too. That you could be assigned both, but you identify one way or the other, or maybe you identify as both, or non-binary. So that should be included in that segment also. Just putting that out there. But it's cool that Cove is a demisexual, and it's also funny that I am Cove. Let's get back into this game. God, this is such a long playthrough. Oh my god. This is a long playthrough. Cove closed his eyes. A contented sigh slipped out of him as he stretched his arms overhead. You can tell that Cove felt like it had been an emotionally draining day that had now come to a close, everything wrapped up neatly with a bow on top. You had some good talks with your friends and with each other. A lot had brought out into light that you come out of it not only knowing each other better, but yourself as well. But there's still something that Cove didn't know. Something that had gnawed at you many times over the years. You never told Cove about how you first met your dad. We're gonna do this now? I kind of want to take it to my grave. See, they're in a good relationship with each other now, and I'm afraid that this information will just ruin it. You always held it back from him, unsure how he would take the revelation. His dad seemed to have done the same, as Cove didn't seem to have heard it from Mr. Holden either. Yes, there we go. A way out of it. You felt it didn't matter anymore. There's no need to rake up old drama. Exactly. You'll only bring that out if you want to cause trouble. And there's no reason to cause trouble. They're finally making amends. They're on good standing. They understand each other better. Mr. Holden had learned from his past mistakes, and that was one of those mistakes. And it's all fixed, so don't do it. It wasn't though as though Mr. Holden had kept you on his payroll to be friends with his son. It was a strange action, probably out of desperation, taken years ago. At this point, you thought you might simply keep that entire event in the past where it belonged. You felt some relief at deciding it wasn't your responsibility to keep caring. Exactly. To be honest, I would have forgotten about it. I would not keep thinking about it. I don't know why this game will make you keep thinking about it, because I would honestly forget about it. Like, it, it goes out of my head. Hey, we should probably head down. Oh, I'm sorry. Cove's voice. Hey, we should probably head downstairs soon. If your moms are still wanting everyone to get together. Yeah, that's right. Oh gosh. I am adamant in trying to finish this episode. This is a long episode. With a renewed spring in your step, you led the way out of your room. You got downstairs to find the others already assembled, awaiting. Hello. Hey. Good to see you both. Mr. Holden? Yep, Mr. Holden. Hey, here we were, trying to corral everyone into a group, but the two of you were already upstairs this whole time. Hey, Dad, we had some stuff to talk about. Yeah. But we made it, so what's the plan? How about cards? Yay! There was a murmur of interest from the others. You were keen to play. Yes. Give me a game. It was very nearly, but not quite unanimous. Mr. Holden demurred. I'll sit this one out. Because there's no money involved? Where's the fun of that? Join in. Yes, and I know there's a lot of people, but we can make it work. Mr. Holden shrunk into himself, embarrassed by their attention. Dad, you love playing cards. We do it at our house all the time. Yeah, remember the time I played over there? Those were serious games. We made bets with real money and everything. Dad? Mr. Holden broke under the combined force of everyone's attention. Cove and Cypher, you're adults now. You deserve to know the truth. I used to throw the card game so you could win. He was holding back this whole time. I put up a good fight, but I always made sure to lose a lot more rounds than I won. He toyed with the end of his ponytail, clearly distressed at revealing this bit of info. He did have a history of bad surprises, so that may be why. I know people want to be taken seriously and fake wins don't mean as much, but I can't help myself. It's so much better when everyone else got the chance to be victorious. Kyra knew and went along with it. Cove laughed in disbelief that this was the thing his dad stressed out about hiding after the other stunts he pulled over the years. How silly, Mr. Holden. So what? Lots of parents do that. I haven't guessed it, sure. Though looking back, it makes sense. That's right. What's the big deal, Cliff? You can finally take the kids' gloves off and give them a run for their money. Holy shit. You've released the beast. Mr. Holden smiled coyly, his gaze lowering. I'm not sure that's a good idea. Am I back? Yeah, I'm back.
Why?
And why not? He waved his hands expansively, the movements fluid and vague. It's just, actually, I'm something of a card shark. I used to make lots of fast cash-off games. Casual players don't have a shot unless it's a game of pure luck. Oh, it's on. Cove's jaw hung open, his wide eyes fixated on his father. Really? There was a touch of amazement, even admiration, nestled among the shock. The other members of the Flair family exchanged looks, ranging from Liv's disbelief to Mom's intrigue, with Ma somewhere in the middle between the two. You can't simply make a claim like that and expect us to go along with it. Let's see you back it up, Shark Man. She's gonna regret it! Mr. Holden gave her a crooked smile, his demureness quickly being replaced with a confidence that sounded very skilled or very misguided. You're sure about that? Definitely. We gotta see the so-called non-casual player in action. Well, might be able. Though who knows? Maybe I got rusty. His coyness continued to rile the gang up, and he was kind of getting a kick out of it now.
Please?
Come on, please.
Alright.
Alright, I can dust off the old tricks. Great. Cove beamed at his father while Mom clapped Mr. Holden on the back. Liz started off to get a deck of cards while the rest of you settled in for the game. Hands were dealt. Mr. Holden wasted no time proving his words true, wiping the floor with all of you. He played several rounds, even switching games, but none of you were a match for him. Oh, even me. That was how the alliance came to be forged. The rest of you joined forces against Mr. Holden only, just to try to increasing the odds of beating him. With your combined efforts, you pulled out a few victories, yet it was still a challenge. He was clearly a professional. If these were his skills now, rusty with disuse, couldn't even imagine what a deadly opponent he had been in the past. Despite that, you still had fun. Working cooperatively actually fostered a sense of camaraderie with the others. Mr. Holden didn't appear fazed by the strategy. You actually wonder whether the increased challenge made it more interesting for him. You spent the rest of the afternoon together with your family and the Holdens having fun. It was an interesting evening for sure, with many discoveries for everyone. It was freeing, and yet simultaneously you felt more tied together than you ever had been before. Ah, that was it. Such a long episode. And it was even longer because I was dealing with my phone. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please hit that like button. It lets YouTube know that this is a really cool game to watch. And if you like to look at all of my past videos but just don't have the time, hit that subscribe button so that way you could take the time to look at all of my past content and future content after this game. And I will be back and for next time. And if you click that bell, you'll know when I post it on Fridays. Lately, my schedule has been kind of up in the air. Last week, I wasn't able to put it out on Friday. I was really out of it. And I was only able to put it out on Sunday. So I hope I will see you this coming Friday. If not, hit that bell and you will know when I put up the next episode. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for being a sparkle in your life and bring joy and brightness to others. Bye-bye.